Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Social Butterfly. It's been a minute. I'm Bri. Hopefully you still remember that, at least. It has been crazy around here lately. The last few weeks have been... Oh, if the camera gets bumped, it's because Remy was checking everything out. The last few weeks have been... Just the month of May was pretty crazy. It was pretty busy. We had a lot going on the weekends, which was usually the times that I would record. And so I was really busy with work. There were a couple weeks where I worked every single night. And Alec moved home, kind of. He was like home, and then he actually was gone like during the week, almost every week that he's been home up until now. So if you hear a door opening and shutting or anything, or someone whistling in the background, that would be him. So I'm gonna have to get used to recording with somebody else in the vicinity. And look who decided to join us. Hi, Remy. Hello. And Remy's here. So yeah, and then, without going into too much of anything, I don't know what corner of the internet you're on, but the one that I'm in for a couple weeks in May was a pretty sad place. So yeah, just being busy and, not really knowing what to talk about, what I wanted to talk about, took a little hiatus, but we're back. And happy Tuesday if you're listening to this on a Tuesday. And hopefully we'll be back on a more regular schedule now that things have kind of calmed down. We're in the summer, and I can kind of get back to this. I know I said it before in a couple episodes before, but I really started this at like the busiest time of the year for us. But I'm trying to stay consistent while also not beating myself up if I'm not consistent at certain times. Because one thing I have learned in doing this is that this is a lot of work. And I'm doing the bare minimum, like I'm not posting clips throughout the weeks and stuff like that and not having to line up guests. Like, it's a lot of work. So props to all the major podcasting people. I know a lot of them have at least an assistant who helps them out or a production person who helps them out, but holy cow, it's a lot more work than I thought, but it is still fun. And I was excited to come down and record. Alec was so sweet last night. He was like, tomorrow, because I was saying, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I completely forgot to record and put out a podcast episode last week. Like I need to do that. And he was like, well, I'll like cook supper, and while I'm cooking, you can go down and record. So then you have time to do it. So I thought that was very nice. So hopefully him being back will also like keep me on track here. But I wanted to start out, my friend Hannah actually had a good idea. She was saying she loves a segment. And she said, starting out with like your top 5 things right now. And I think she might have meant products or something. I'm not sure. But I would like to think of it like top 5 things just in general right now in life. Could be songs, could be products, could be hobbies, could be things we're doing, could be things we're not doing. Just top 5 things at the current moment. And so I thought that was fun. So I thought I would do that. One of my top 5 things right now that I've been addicted to, but I'm slowly working through it, is Secret Lives of Mormon Wives season 2. I love the show because I like the I think seeing like behind the scenes of like influencers or people whose main job is social media is so interesting. I like reality TV, but I don't do a lot of the like Bravo shows or anything. And I've come to find out now with this season 2, it's because like the possibility of confrontation stresses me out. Like the point of the show that I'm in right now is where like everyone is not really happy with Jen, and Demi and Jesse are like, we need to talk to her, and Jen's like, I need to talk to them, and they just haven't done it yet. And like the buildup is like giving me secondhand anxiety. Like it's terrible. So I can only really watch like one episode at a time because I start to get stressed out. But I do love it. I like the show. I think it's interesting. I think it's fun to watch. So I guess that's my top thing. My second thing is just reading in general. I just finished Emily Henry's newest book, Great Big Beautiful Life, and I liked it. And so I feel like summer I really get into reading, which might like seem the opposite, but like I feel like in the winter months I'm more prone to like be on my phone or be watching TV because I'm craving like connection because we're inside so much. In summer I read more because I'm like, I'll be outside and the mornings are cooler, but they're, obviously it's still warm enough to go sit outside on a quiet morning or just like sit in the sun and read my book. Or we have a fishing boat, so if Alec goes fishing, I'll go with and bring my book and read on the boat. So yeah, reading just in general, we're up right now. I'm in a book club. I'm in 2 book clubs technically. One has been on a hiatus for a while, but then the other one I'm in, we still meet monthly. So I've been reading at least 1 book a month, which is good, but I'm like, I can feel myself just really getting back into the grind, which I'm excited about. My third top thing is probably if you've heard Renee Rapp's new song, that Leave Me Alone, it is stuck on a loop in my head ever since I heard it. And it kind of reminds me of like a Kesha song. I don't know if anyone else like got that vibe when they first heard it, but like when I listen to it, I can just imagine then Kesha coming in and doing that, and the party don't start till I walk in. Just like, it's that kind of pop song. And which brings me to number 4, which is kind of correlated with it, but it is once again a pop music summer, okay? I know last summer we had a Brat summer. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. This summer, we just got Miley's new album. Taylor got back all the rights to, or got back, Taylor now owns all the rights to all of her music, so we can blast the OG versions of 1989 if that is what you are so inclined to do. Oh, and there goes Remy. Alec just walked in with a plate of bacon, so he's more enticing than I am right now. Addison Rae is coming out with an album this Friday. It comes out this Friday. And yeah, another pop music summer is very exciting to me. I'm trying to think of what my 5th thing would be. Oh, I guess my 5th thing right now, I'm really into, and I feel like I'm always kind of into this, but right now I am more so than usual, is taking pictures. I have the Lapse app. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's kind of like Dispo or Visco, whatever, but like takes photos and then it waits a little bit to like develop them. And it puts a little like timestamp and filter on it, whatever. It's cute. And then at the end of each month, it'll make a little like roundup of like 36 of the photos that you took during the month. But I've just been taking more photos just when I'm on a walk with Remy, or if I'm cooking something, or if I'm with my friends, taking like photos of them, not necessarily like staged ones, but just taking photos, because I think that's really important. I love capturing memories. Not everyone thinks that, and that's okay, but you always have to have someone in a group or in a family or at an event, whatever, who's like documenting things, taking pictures or videos, because at some point you're going to be happy that you have them to look back on. So, and I'm usually that person, but I've just been like really into it lately. So yeah, those are my 5 things right now. I love that segment idea, so thank you, Hannah. And yeah, I don't know if I'll do it every episode, but it's just like a fun thing to do. Just go down my favorites. I have started following this new creator on TikTok, or she's not new, but I am new to her, and I'm gonna say her name wrong because I can't figure out if it's Ellie or Eli, and I can't find a video where anyone has said it, so sorry girl. But she like makes these lists of like rules for June, or like things that I find chic, which is like a trend, but she does these lists like a lot, and I love them, and I think they're so fun. So that kind of sparked me to remember Hannah's suggestion. It's also been a while that we haven't checked in on is my reasons that I've cried lately. Let's take a look, shall we? I don't remember the last thing I talked about. I think it might have been before I went to Houston to see Macy, so it's been a couple months. So we've got some things. I guess I'll just start out on that, leaving Houston / Macy, because I only get to see her like once a year now, and it made me sad. Okay, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones yet, you can mute it for a second. Princess Shireen dying in Game of Thrones. I have Missing My Papa, which is a pretty regular occurrence, and then right under that I have Everything. Must have been a hard week that week. The last night that I was in West Virginia, I think I just cried because it was like bittersweet, because like obviously I was very happy to have Alec coming home, but it was just like a different place that we had kind of made connections in and like made work, and it was realizing that we might not ever go back there. I hope we will, but yeah, so they were kind of like bittersweet tears. Game of Thrones again. A TikTok of a bride singing Defying Gravity at her wedding. Classic. A Mel Robbins podcast on friendship. If you don't listen to I don't listen to every Mel Robbins podcast episode, but my friend sent me this one about like friendships, and oh my gosh, it was so good. I would highly recommend. I think it came out at the end of April. I cried when Alec came home. Another Game of Thrones, and then I can't keep watching this show. I love that show, but oh my god, I cry so much. Like, what is up with them killing dogs all the time? No one warned me that that would be part of it, and I'm pissed about it. So rude. And then they make you now I'm afraid to even like a character, because I'm like, they're gonna die. I just know it. The Gabby Petito documentary, if you haven't watched that on Netflix, I would definitely recommend. I listened to her mom's interview on the Squeeze podcast, and I just really love the way that the documentary like centered Gabby as the victim instead of the person who killed her. And yeah, I thought it touched on a lot of important points about, her entire story, and talked to her family and friends. I thought it was really well done. So if you're a true crime person, I would recommend watching that one. And there's a couple in here about just some things that happened on TikTok that made me very sad. My nephew's graduation. I don't think I cried because I was like, oh my god, he's growing up, but more so just it's so nice to spend time with family, and we haven't gotten to do that much this past year just because with Alec being gone and everything, it just made it harder to get together with anyone or see anyone. And so I think those were more like happy tears. I did cry about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I don't remember why, but I did cry. So I'll think back on that and try to remember why I cried. Oh, this was just last week. I cried because my friend's daughter turned 1, and she posted photos of her like 1-year-old photo shoot. Hi, Kendall. And they made me cry because they were so cute, and she's growing up so fast, and I can't believe she's 1 already, and she looks like such a big kid. And yeah, I got emotional. So can't wait to see what happens when I eventually have my own child. I anticipate I will just be crying every day, probably. Oh, the last one I have, although I did cry last night when I finished Emily Henry's new book, so I need to add that on here. But the last one that is on here is I'm doing a series on my main TikTok each day on my way to work, I'm listening to the music that I have like on my iTunes on my phone. And so it's all from like it. Unfortunately, it's not the like YouTube to MP3 ones that you could like download and like add manually into your iTunes. Bummer, but it's all the ones I like bought from iTunes. Ever since I've had my iPod Touch or something, or maybe just my phone. I don't know. Anyway, so I've been doing that, and that day, the Glee version of "Make You Feel My Love" came on, and it's during the quarterback episode, and Leah Michelle sings it. And I remember watching that episode, and I remember I couldn't watch it when it like first aired. And so my friend recorded it for me, and I went to watch it, and I think it was during this song actually that I was just like sobbing. I remember I was holding some sort of food or something, but I'm just sitting there bawling, and he like took it from me, and he's like, you can come back to that. Like, but gosh, I remember watching that because they kept in, even in the recording of the song, they kept in, she's crying while she's singing it. And it's so heartbreaking. So yeah, made me cry on my way to work. So that was fun. Not like sobbing. So I was like, fine. But a lot of these are not like actual breakdown sobbing, but like tearing up, a couple tears fall type of thing. So yeah, now I think you're up to date on my most recent cries. But I did want to go back a little bit to, I said at the beginning of this, not beating myself up if I'm not consistent. I don't really think of myself as a perfectionist, but I do I do care a lot about what other people think. Unfortunately, working on it. And so, like when I forgot to do a podcast episode the other week, I was like, oh my gosh, like people being like the 15 people who listen to this consistently, which I appreciate you, but let's like just keep that in mind. But I was like, people are like going to be disappointed in me, or how's it going to look? They're going to think I can't stick to something. All of that was just going around in my mind, and I was like putting myself down because I was busy and because I'm doing something for me that I'm the only one like when I say it all out loud, it doesn't make sense. Or like it's not as logical to be upset about it. But I was talking about it in therapy last week because I was saying, like, because she asked how my podcast was going. I had said, like, I forgot to put out an episode, or I haven't had time to put out an episode when I needed to the other week, and I was like really mad at myself about it. And she was like, but aren't you doing this for you? Like, you don't even need to be doing it every other week if you don't want to. Like, do it when it feels right for you and when you have time. She's like, that's the whole point of a hobby, or that's the whole point of doing something that's for you, especially, like she said, when you're doing it alone. We're not, we are certainly not monetized or anything like that. So she's like, I think you don't realize that your inner voice can be kind of mean to you sometimes, which is true. And so it was just like a good reminder of like, hey, you don't have to like put that pressure on yourself, because this is literally, it's not even low stakes. It's like no stakes. Yeah, so I guess I just need to kind of keep reminding myself of that, and reminding myself that, like, this is fun. I was just talking to someone the other day. I actually think it was, like, a random, like, Sephora employee that I was talking to, but I was showing her, like, my charm that I made for my Summer Fridays lip gloss, and she was like, oh, are you gonna make an Etsy shop? Like, do you sell those? And I was like, no, I saw a TikTok one time that said, like, we don't need to monetize all of our hobbies. So I was like, not that I monetize any of my hobbies, but, just no, I don't want it to not be fun. And she's like, oh, what a good point. Like, what a good way to think of that. And so that's kind of the mindset I'm trying to have with this, is like, it's a hobby. It's fun for me to do. I like to edit. I like to talk, obviously. Like, I like to do all this stuff, but it's a hobby. It's not, right now, at least, something that, like, I need to be super hard on myself about. Obviously, the goal is to be consistent. I'm not just going to put it off and, once a month be like, oh, right, I have a podcast. No, I want to be consistent, but just the beating myself up part is, like, not good for me. So we're not going to do that. And I need all of you to keep me accountable, too. Again, all 15 of you. So thanks. I guess this was kind of just like a check back in episode, since we haven't had one in a while. I want to start having more guests on in the summer, so hopefully I can make that happen. I was traveling there for a while, so I had a good amount of like friends I was around to record with. But if there's anything else that like you think would be a fun like topic or segment or anything, Hannah, let me know. Because sometimes with these solo episodes, like, unless I have like something that's been on my mind and I'm like, oh, I need to talk about that, like, I want to talk about that, sometimes it's like kind of hard. And again, maybe that's why I also put off, recording, is like, not that I didn't have anything to say, because I always have something to say, but I didn't have enough cohesive thoughts to put together in like a 25 to 30 minute episode. So I think we can end with a couple more self-love, we're not really strangers cards, because those have been fun. I'm trying to remember what level I drew from last time. Okay, that's a wild card. That's not useful for this purpose. Let's see here. And level 1 is like about the past. This says, how have you kept yourself safe? I don't know why, but the first thing that popped into my mind when I read that was like making fun of myself before anyone else can, which sounds kind of sad, but like, I don't know, when you're really nervous about what people think, I feel like a lot of times an automatic response will be to like say out loud any of the bad things that someone might think about you. Like, oh yeah, that was really dumb of me. Or like, oh yeah, I messed that up. Like, not so much taking ownership, but just being like, okay, if I say it and they know that I'm aware of it, then they don't have to say anything about it. And I think that's me trying to keep myself safe. That doesn't mean I actually am, but I think it's just like a mechanism that I've done for so long now. But I think that's probably what my brain is trying to do, is like, okay, if I can say these things first, then someone else won't. Which isn't entirely logical, but that's just the first thing that came to mind, so that's what we're going with. Do one more. Hopefully it's a little lighter than that. When was the last time you impressed yourself? Okay, wait, I can make this one light because it's kind of funny. So the other weekend we were like playing drinking games with some people, and we were playing Flippy Cup, and I was explaining to someone how like when I used to play it when I was younger, we would do it like elimination style. So like the team that lost, you'd kick someone off, and then someone have to do 2 cups until you got down to 1 versus 1, 4 cups in front of them, whatever. And you just go down the line. And so I did it. Like I played 1 versus 1 with someone, and I one flipped every single one. And I know that sounds really lame of something to be impressed with myself by, but like I haven't played that game in a couple years, and it was pretty freaking impressive. Okay, so that's the last time I impressed myself. There, I ended on a lighter note. Yeah, we'll go with that. It was impressive. Okay, you had to be there. Okay, well, we're back. We're back in it. If you want to, I have social media for the podcast. We've got TikTok, Instagram. You can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts. Obviously, you're listening to it right now. You can also watch it on YouTube. If you're an audio listener right now, you can sit and look at my face for half an hour. But yeah, go follow us, comment, stuff that you might want to see or hear about in the next episodes. And yeah, thanks for being here. Bye.